Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Some brothers ask questions about Dajjal. They ask if Dajjal, by some rumors, will be not a material creature. About Dajjal there exists many traditions in Sunnah of Prophet. In Sunnah it is said that it is a one-eyed creature. And on this occasion brothers made a few speculations and guesses. Some said it is a television, because they compared this one eye with TV. Some said it is a locomotive because it had a single light in the front. And it reminded me a text of Dostoevsky where Lebedev in the novel Idiot said that star wormwood is a net of railroads that fell on Russia. And it made me think that our brothers are actively reading Russian classics like Dostoevsky, so they have this kind of weird associations that locomotive is a sign of Dajjal or Dajjal himself.
Русскую классику Федора Михайловича Достоевского, раз у них рождаются такие ассоциации, что паровозы — это, возможно, образ Даджала, или просто сам Даджал, вот, имеется в виду.
Overall, there are a lot of guesses, especially people worried about cyclicity of Dajjal. But no one paid an attention to an obvious thing. That Dajjal is a cyclope vividly reminds one sacred figure among pagans who is really characterized with a single eye. Who is it? It is one who is called Buddha, because Buddha is usually pictured in lotus position with closed physical eyes, while on his forehead third eye is shining. Generally we should say that not only Buddha has a third eye. All gods and all manifestations of Tibet not only in Buddhist but also in the sacred Hindu tradition have a third eye. What is interesting? That theme of Dajjal, but from another side, exists not only in Christianity, where he is called Antichrist, besides Islam. This conception of Dajjal also obviously exists in Buddhist tradition. According to Tibetan teaching in 1800 year after Hijra, they say it directly that 1800 year after teaching of mleccha appeared, and we know that in Tibetan tradition Muslims are called mleccha, that on 1800 year 25th emperor of Kalachakra will come out of the underground state called Agartha or Shambhala. Kalachakra means universe. 25th Emperor of Universe who will start a war against people of mleccha. This war will happen on all levels, and this war will include not only humans but also demons, jinns and other creatures. And so by Tibetan tradition they must destroy us. This emperor defeats mleccha people, and after that golden age starts. Of cause with pause, eclipse, disappearance of cast-off part of humanity, and new golden age and new cycle starts. This is a quite official Tibetan documented doctrine. What is interesting that this date, a year 1800, I want to emphasize that in this question there is no attempt to answer an forbidden question about hour. Like if someone asks about hour and someone replies about hour. No. There exists a kind of cyclic counting in pagan traditions that we can't ignore. Because we can't ignore any kinds and forms of knowledge and teachings, primarily hostile to us. Because we are brought to be in the center of the world and a center of struggle. And that's why we should know everything and primarily everything that opposes us. And now there is a certain calculation of time for cyclical humanity, where 1800 years from the appearance of our prophet to the last battle with the Dajjal is a very important phase of time. And according to this calculation, we have 360 years until the end of this time, until the end of this phase when the battle begins. That is half of the Asar from 1440. You just need to understand that 1440 can be counted according to the lunar calendar or according to the solar. If you compare this to the usual Kufr calendar, this would be a different dates. According to the lunar calendar, 1440 is approximately 2020 or 2021. And according to the solar calendar, it is 2061 to 2062. In short, the difference is 40 years. These 40 years are very important for the fate of the Ummah, because they fall into nowhere between the same date on two counting systems, solar and lunar. This is the time nowhere. That can be called the time in which the prophet Moses led his people across the desert. And during this time, over these 40 years from 2021 to 2060, a lot should happen. And above all with us, the Ummah must become different. The Ummah must become new. This is one point. The second point is that all guesses about, these guesses usually are not Islamic but from Christianity or Orthodox Christianity, that Dajjal will be a Jew from tribe of Dan. This is a funny nonsense, because Jewish people in this case are a bit weak for this role. Because before they betrayed their mission and ceased to be God's chosen people, they still belong to Abrahamic tradition. And Abrahamic tradition, even when it is distorted as in Judaism, it is still a very strong and tough thing. This tradition from point of Satan's metaphysics makes human invalid for representing his position on the earth. Shortly speaking, anyone who somehow was related to Abrahamic teaching, even if he left it and betrayed it, went into disbelieving and idolatry. But if he somehow was related to Abrahamic tradition, he can't be related to what we are speaking about. That is, no Dajjal can come out of Jew. Dajjal is a permanent appearing emperor of the universe. From Buddhistic Hindu tradition, from tradition of pure paganism, because this is a reproduction of being and a cyclic reappearance of the same, until righteous Muslims won't break through and won't stop this chain of cycles, until Mahdi comes and last battle happens, and new earth and new heaven will open then. And until this time pillar line will be a paganic repeat in which central figure will be an emperor of Kalachakra, who we must defeat and who with God's help we will defeat.
Мы должны победить, и мы, иншаллах, победим. Аллаху Акбар.